are here for representing, that would be really great. Also, if this is your first state meeting, let us know. Thanks, Julia. Julia's also a board member. Appreciate you being here. Hi, Chad. Yeah. Okay, y'all. Well, I will go ahead and get started as people keep commenting in the chat. So, welcome, SACAC. This is our state meeting for the fall. We will also have a state meeting in the spring at conference, which is in Raleigh this year. So, hopefully, you can see my screen, sharing a presentation, and I just have a couple of quick announcements. And then we actually have a guest speaker today. And so, want to make sure that we have plenty of time to hear from him and his expertise. And then after he gives his presentation and answers a few questions, we'll then go back into SACAG updates and kind of share what's going on, some things that you should be aware of as we go into the season. So hope everybody's had a great fall so far, and we'll keep going. So the conference this year, our theme is It Continues With Us. So make sure that you know that, and as you see things pop up, that is our theme for this year. And we're really excited about that and all that that entails. And then just our agenda today, I know I kind of just went through it, but we're going to do some quick introductions, and then we have our keynote presenter, SACEC updates. So again, we're going to specifically go over some of our committee updates after we have our presentation, any state updates that people would like to share from this state with this group. And then if we have time, we can break out into discussion groups, just kind of hear what's going on in everybody's world right now. And then we'll wrap up. So I do want to be respectful of the hour that we have together. And so I am going to go ahead and introduce, well, that's me. Hello. But our keynote speaker today is Adrian Anderson. He does work with me at the University of South Carolina, but I'm going to not steal his thunder, but he has a lot of experience. We did hear feedback from across both sides of the desk just about what is going on in the world of AI and how can we, both as practitioners, but also just education, people be focused on, helping students with the tools, but also being aware of just, again, trends that are happening. And so, Adrian, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you can start sharing yours, and feel free to hop on and introduce yourself, and everybody give Adrian a virtual warm welcome.
Great, thank you. So I won't take too much of your time, but first, thank you for all you're doing all across the state. Wonderful things. So I'm happy to be here and share a little bit about how my life has changed in the past year because of this new technology. It's every day, believe it or not. So let me just push a few buttons here. And perfect. So you should all see my presentation now, if I did that correctly. Perfect. So artificial intelligence. It's a lot of things, and we'll discuss that, but we'll focus this conversation on artificial intelligence impact on college campuses, its impact on potential college essays for students who are applying to college, and then what we can do about that and things that we can't control. So we will get into it. And then if you have questions, just because I have so many screens going, we'll save the questions till the end. So take a note, or you can put in the chat and I can go back through it. But yeah, we'll jump right in. So we'll first figure out who the heck is this guy. Why am I talking to you all? We'll talk about AI. We'll talk about real world use and some cautionary tales with that use. We'll discuss detecting artificial intelligence, some positive uses, the homogeneous voice that it produces, something that I've been calling digital appropriation, the college essay, and then specifically what our Office of Student Conduct and Academic Integrity is doing in this new world of artificial intelligence. So who am I? First, I'm a husband, so My wife works here. She works in the care team, supporting students in crisis, while I deal with students who I say made mistakes, and we correct those mistakes together. But I'm a husband, I'm a father, I have a 13-month-old, which is crazy, named Charlotte. I'm an educator, so in addition to my role in this office as a coordinator for academic integrity, I also teach University 101. But every meeting that I have with a student is an educational opportunity for both myself and the student to learn about the honor code and then learn also about what they're dealing with and how they got here. And I just enjoy learning. I'm a bit of a nerd, and it just so happened that my job got really intertwined with technology, which I've come to love over the past year. Around January and February of this year, our office got emails of tons of magazines and higher education articles and notes of despair from faculty around the university and staff about this being the end of higher education and all that we love and know. And I don't think those things are true, but what am I not? So to make it clear, I'm not a programmer. I have a Bachelor of Arts and a Master's of Arts for a reason. I'm not a computer scientist or an expert on all things artificial intelligence. AI has been something that has existed for decades. So I won't go too much into the science of it all, but more so practical use and things that we're seeing. But I can answer some of those questions as well as I've been doing research to kind of understand how it works myself. So artificial intelligence, what is it? So in short, artificial intelligence is it's an evolution of technology that we already have and use every day. It's in our cell phones, it's in search engines, it's in Alexa, Siri, all of those things are forms of artificial intelligence. So what's become very popular is chatbots, specifically ChatGPT, Bing Chat, which is powered by ChatGPT, has become super popular for students and faculty and staff to use. Image creators, so DALL-E is one of the more popular ones, which is a subsidiary of the OpenAI company that runs ChatGPT. So you can put in words and it can give you an image. Or people are doing like professional headshots with AI now, all kinds of things. Translators, we've seen that students who are either in a second language course or who may be non-native English speakers, a lot of the translators they use, don't want to restart a computer, a lot of the translators they use, including things like DeepL and other things, are very, very good at translating materials. So they've been using those to complete assignments. And there have been some issues whenever the translation goes beyond translation and into generation of things that weren't said. So we have to be careful in those situations. It can be editors like Grammarly, for example. Grammarly has a free version and a paid version. The paid version advertises that it uses artificial intelligence. The free version uses artificial intelligence as well. So it's kind of a marketing ploy, really, to make you pay for the pro version, but both of them use artificial intelligence and counseling services as well. There are lots of apps that people can download and just talk to a bot or a thing, and that thing will give them responses on how to have a better day. So tons of real world examples of what AI exists around us.
Try again.
A cautionary tale. So AI and its use is not just for students. I would say that ChatGPT writing college essays is a pony trick compared to what AI really does and what it's really about. So I would caution you all as well as staff and faculty assisting students, when using it, be sure to cite it, right? So MLA, Chicago, and APA all have guidelines on how to cite the use of AI. But also what a lot of students don't realize, and staff members and people in general, whenever you copy and paste from one of these chat bots, it is likely that it will give you a little citation automatically. And that has gotten some people in trouble, not just students. There have been staff who've sent emails, campus-wide emails, that say at the bottom, paraphrased from ChatGPT, and depending on what that email was about, that may be an issue. So then we have, it's not the only cause, and authenticity is key. So in thinking about application processes for students, thinking about personal statements and whatnot, how we are effectively reviewing those things on the admission side and how we are advising students to tell their story on the counseling side is going to be very important. And I'll give you an example of why that is the case shortly. So detecting artificial intelligence, there is no simple solution. ChatGPT 0 exists. You can ask a chatbot, did you write this, and copy and paste a paragraph from the thing you suspect to be AI into the detector. But it is not guaranteed to give you a response that the University of South Carolina in this office is saying is the gospel. For example, we use SafeAssign. So as a part of Blackboard, every student submits an assignment. SafeAssign compares that assignment to every assignment that's ever been submitted by any student at the university. And when it does that, it spits back out a percentage of similarity. It's an easy detector for plagiarism and bad citations. ChatGPT 0 and those things do that, but every time you use a computer, to some degree, what you are typing is influenced by artificial intelligence. Even the little squiggly line under a word to change is a very low-level form of AI. So that's never going to be a 0 score. But in our office, we do take into consideration what we get back from those tools as a part of the reasons why you might find a student responsible for a violation of the honor code. So detector tools exist. They're not the end-all be-all. AI proofing is possible when it comes to assignment generation, and I'll give you some positive uses of AI in a minute. But the old-fashioned way of doing things on pen and paper is the only way to guarantee that artificial intelligence did not impact an assignment. And even then, it's when that assignment is done in front of the person who's grading the work. So it's not a positive use of time to figure out how to AI proof a class or AI proof a process. Rather, what are we evaluating in our process? And is it susceptible to artificial intelligence? And if it is that a problem, right? In what we're evaluating, is AI really a problem in our process? If it is a problem, how can we change our process to account for that, or try to avoid it in some way? And then become a user. So if you haven't used AI at this point in the world, you're falling behind. So whether that's using ChatGPT, they have free versions, using Bing, anything you search on Bing, a chatbot pops up on the side of your screen, and you can click it at the top. You can go right into a conversation with an artificial intelligence bot. So become a user, become familiar with it. And one tip that I would give you is to ask the AI to do something you know how to do. So for example, if you know how to make lasagna from scratch, ask an AI bot how to make lasagna. It'll give you a recipe, and that recipe might make lasagna, but it probably isn't the way that you would make lasagna. And that's the difference, right? So AI gives you this big general scope of a thing boiled down into a pretty little sentence. But is that sentence the most accurate version of something? Is it the most human version of something? And is it the most authentic version of something? That's what we're looking for, particularly in essay creation and things like that. But the best way to become familiar with how it works and what outputs it gives is to ask the questions yourself. So become a user. So what are some positive uses of AI? Creative idea generation, right? So if you're working with a student and they are just lost on where to start on a paper or an assignment or a personal statement, go to a chatbot and say, hey, I'm writing a personal statement. What should this look like? What should this be about? Now, we're not going to copy and paste that, but we're going to see, okay, it's talking about childhood. It says maybe you can talk about circumstances you've overcome. And it gives you, it breaks the writing block that a lot of students and professionals have. That's a really positive use. Mind maps, the same scenario, right? So I don't know where to start. generate 10 random words for me. Maybe the words are blue, water, horse, zoo, right? And off of those random words, oh, I can talk about how a formative memory of mine was the last time I saw my grandfather in Spain. We were horseback riding near an ocean. Now I can write a personal statement on that topic, right? So AI didn't write it for you, but you used it to get to a place where you could document something that is true to you, right? You can use it in evaluation. So in many companies, and I'm sure colleges will not be far behind, are using AI softwares to evaluate college applications or job applications. We've all heard, your resume has to say certain words, certain key phrases, because if there are 100 applications, it might filter down to certain key things they're looking for from the job description. So that's a very possible use. You can use it to debate in the classroom. AI told me this. Class, tell me why AI is wrong, or tell me why AI is right. That's a good way to use it in the classroom. Old lessons made new. If you're in the classroom and you're teaching, look at a lesson plan you've done for 5-10 years, and ask AI to evaluate it, or ask AI, how would you teach this? And there might be something you're missing, or something you can incorporate that AI would give you, or you can just have literally AI be a part of your lesson. So going back to universal design, multiple submissions, and that kind of a thing, you can have students maybe use AI as a part of their assignment, as long as they cite it appropriately. But there are endless possibilities. If you go to our website, sc.edu, and just search academic integrity, under academic integrity, we have an artificial intelligence tab where there's tons of ideas on how it can be used, and what we're saying to faculty and staff on campus. The homogeneous voice. So I think this, when you look at college essays, personal statements, things that may signal to you that AI may have been used inappropriately are going to be things like flow, cadence, and syntax. So I would encourage you all on the admission side, ask AI to write a personal statement, put in your prompts and see what you get. And then you might use that as a comparison to papers that you're evaluating and say, line by line, these ideas, it's the same flow, it's the same cadence, sometimes the same punctuation and things of that nature. AI may have been influenced in this paper a little heavily, so that may take into account the authenticity of that particular document. Perfectionism. I think students are in this age, and individuals like myself really, are battling with perfectionism. And we want no commas to be missed. We want everything just perfect. When we do that, we rely on technology to edit our work, and it may be edited beyond the scope of what we originally wrote, right? For example, we had a professor call the office yesterday who said a student submitted a 5-page paper a day late, but the paper was written with words with myself as a PhD would not use on a regular basis, and it was 12 pages long, right? So a paper that's a day late, 6 pages extra, with a PhD level vocabulary from a freshman student, something's wrong, right? It's unlikely they wrote that in that paper. So we're going to meet with them and see if they did. But those things stick out to us. And then there's bias and blind spots, particularly if using AI in the classroom. AI tends to speak in matter of fact. And if it's asking a question or answering a question that is nuanced, who was right, or the thoughts on X subject or topic, it may offer some bias or some blind spots that you as the person inputting the material wouldn't have done. So those are things that we tend to see with AI use. And that gets into what I've been calling digital appropriation. Essentially, artificial intelligence, it can't create new information, at least not yet, not the things that we're using. It's just taking in, based on patterns and responses it's received, it's giving an output. So, for example, a lot of people think Alexa is listening to me because my Amazon cart has suggested things that I've never searched before. You might not have searched those things before, but you may have asked Alexa or searched and given your permission in your browser for certain things, and it's deduced that you may want this response. So it's going to jump ahead. That's like the intelligence part, but it's not creating anything. It's based on context and imitation. but it lacks culture. It lacks the human touch that we all give to everything that we write and how we talk and how we speak. So if you've been, paying attention, at the bottom of the screen, there is a closed caption that's running. So PowerPoint, for accessibility reasons, I try to have that closed caption running for presentations that I give virtually. But even this is a form of artificial intelligence. So it's trying its best to mimic what I'm saying and then go back and edit with punctuation and spelling and grammar corrections because it didn't know where I was going. But once it interpreted what I said, it says, okay, this may be what they meant based on the context. So I'm going to go back and edit this in real time. So that's AI use working around us every day. So here's a little video of an example that I did the other day of what a college student or potential college student could be looking at. I know it's hard to see, and I'll copy and paste something at the end. But I put in a prompt, I said, write a 300 to 500 word essay answering these questions. And I think these questions are general things we could see on a college entrance personal statement exam of some kind. Why is a college degree important to you? Might be a question that a student's asked. Who is an inspiration to you? Could be a question that we ask to get a better idea of who the student is. And then the final question, I think, was why are you going to college? Or why did you choose your major? That was the question that I put in there. And this is using, like I said, this is a regular Bing search. So I haven't had the malintent of having something write my paper for me necessarily. I'm just searching what would this look like. But as I do that, on the right-hand screen there, it's a little slow, but it was going to come up. But I just instead click from the top where it says chat and let it respond there. So this is, hey, I'm Bing. I can help you. Please note that this is only an example and you should use your own words. So as AI, the creators behind the AI have been monitoring how it's been used, they're getting a lot of flack from colleges and education about it's, just so easy to do its own work. So that's like a disclaimer. You should, don't use this exactly. But what it gives is a pretty good response for a potential college personal statement. It answers all the questions. It fits the parameters. And on the next screen, I'll show you so we can kind of look at it together. But and it's so quick, right? It took me less than 5 minutes to do that. And then I can click copy, that button right there, and then I can copy it directly into whatever box that I'm typing into. So that's what it gave me, right? So a college degree is important for these reasons. An inspiration of my grandfather, who was a doctor and researcher. He taught me all of these things. In conclusion, this degree is important because I want to be a biologist and researcher, similar to my grandfather. It's a beautiful statement. None of that is true to me. None of those things are things that I can identify with. It's just copy and pasted. Now, most students we found in our office, most students come to our office for two reasons: lack of preparation, time management, stress, right? We know college exams, getting into college, very stressful. We also know students want to have integrity. Students want to do work. They want their personal statements to be their own. So I would say it is a minority of students who would take this statement and copy it into their actual application. I would say, though, current high schoolers, senior high schoolers, are more versed in how to use AI than our seniors in college, right? So what they've been doing is they've been becoming pro prompt generators. They're becoming very good at asking the questions to ChatGPT correctly to get a good response, right? So they could just use this, but more than likely they would use the framework to then create their own work. They said, my grandfather's not a doctor, but they worked in this area, so maybe I do want to put that in there. So, and they'll get their ideas that way. Now, obviously, copying and pasting this, if it was for academic credit, there could be an issue, and they'd come to our office. So, briefly, I'll explain what our office process is. And I will say as a disclaimer, when it comes specifically to the application process for college, students aren't students until they're accepted, right? So the materials that got here, if they copy and pasted that personal statement, it doesn't necessarily mean that they now can come to our office for a violation. There is a certain point at which they are held to our standards, but that comes a little bit after just that application portion. But in the classroom for entrance exams, things of that nature, they sign obviously the honor code statements for the entrance exams, and then the syllabus is that contract with the university for every one of their classes. So the way it works in our office, we get a report from the professor or the teaching assistant. We have a conference with the student that lasts anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And we decide if they're responsible based on the report and what the student has told us on the preponderance of evidence standards. That means, is it more likely than not this is true based on the evidence that we have? And then if we find them responsible, they will have to complete a series of sanctions. In most cases, those sanctions include some form of probation, not academic probation, conduct probation. And conduct probation is a disciplinary warning from our office about the behavior for a certain amount of time. In addition to that, they complete an educational outcome, most likely the academic integrity workshop, which is a 3-week asynchronous course that's free on Blackboard, where students reflecting the honor code, what brought them to our office, and then focuses on cheating general behaviors, and then ways to not end up in our office again. So consultations with the Writing Center or Student Success Center and so on. If a student disagrees with my decision in finding them responsible, they have the ability to have the case heard by someone else. And that someone else would be a panel of 3 people in a Carolina Judicial Council hearing. And that council hearing would be able to overturn what I said, or they would be able to uphold the decision that I made. And then wonderful sources. I'm not making any of this stuff up, I promise. And then if you are able to, if you scan that code there, it'll take you, I believe, to our website. The code is still working. And it'll show you some artificial intelligence things as well, more so going in depth with things that I've already shared. So with that being said, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I will let you all get on with the good business of your meeting.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Does anyone have a question for Adrian while he is with us today? It's told to wait 30 seconds. You never know.
You never know.
Okay, well, if you do, we will share his contact information. Hopefully you all found that helpful. I'm lingering for just one more second, just in case somebody did have a question. But Adrian, we really appreciate you and just taking the time today to talk with us about this topic, because I know it's top of mind for everybody, kind of again, across both sides of the desk. So thank you again. We really appreciate it. And if we have questions, I'm sure people will be reaching out. So
yes, of course. Well, I enjoy it. Like I said, I hear cases dealing with potential misuse of artificial intelligence every week this semester. So we're rolling with the punches. But again, thank you for all that you do. And if you got any questions, you can send those to me and I'll be happy to respond. Okay.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. All right. Okay, so hope you all enjoyed that. I know, again, we had asked a couple of different people, again, across both sides, just kind of something that was top of mind and something we may not always talk about at conferences. I know we've talked a lot about the Supreme Court ruling and just some other topics. And of course, FAFSA is on everybody's mind right now. So was eager to hopefully have a little bit of a different topic, but that was still applicable to just what's going on with everybody right now. So now I'll just kind of jump into some of our SACAC updates. And so one of the first things is just who is SACAC? So I did know, I saw somebody in the chat mention this is their first experience and first time attending a state meeting. And so 1A, welcome to anybody. But B, just in case you're not familiar with SACAC, this is just a slide kind of describing who we are, all the things that, we kind of do. And so I'll kind of jump into that. We're broken out into several different committees. And again, I don't want to really necessarily read them to you, but we do have a lot of different groups. And we are fortunate today to have several different people from our SACAC board represented. So I did see Christy is on the call. So exciting to see you. And we might be hearing from you in just a moment to put you on the spot. But here are the different committees that make up really, the inner workings of SACAC. And so we do have a couple of updates specifically from these committees. And so from the Government Relations Committee, we do have legislative days coming up. So if you are not familiar with the SACAC website, that's really the best way to go find out what's going on. Or we also have a What's Going On Wednesday email blast that comes out most every Wednesday that kind of tells you not only what's going on specifically within South Carolina, but also what's going on, throughout the entire organization. That's a really great way to stay in touch and make sure that we know all the different things that are going on. And I do see that Julia dropped that in our chat. And then, Jacqueline, I just saw your question. A comment. Okay, good to know. Thank you for sharing that experience. I think we all have stories, unfortunately, and it's unfortunately probably going to just keep happening. So at least we can hopefully have some really good conversations, right, about learning about that. So from our oversight committee, so a couple of upcoming events. We do have a counselor participation fund. So this will offer financial assistance to our specific SACAC events for counselors. And so South Carolina, we'll share more about this in a second, but we are hosting the Sweet Tea Tour this summer. So excited to have counselors all over the state, really. And I do have a list of some of the schools that are participating. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about that fund opportunity, we do have a QR code here. And again, information will be on the SACAC website. We also have an extended dream grant information. So you can learn a little bit more about that application process via that QR code. From our Inclusion, Access, and Success Committee, we have our mentorship program. So that's a really great opportunity for people. Shannon, I will keep that and I'll come back to it. We'll find out more information about how you can attend that. I think the website and that QR code is probably the best spot to get started, but we should potentially have some more information by the end of the presentation too. So the mentorship program is a really great opportunity for anybody who's looking to mentor or, be a mentee. I actually participated in this program early on in my career, and my mentor at the time that I was paired with, we still communicate. And it's not necessarily someone I talk to about every day's woes, but definitely somebody who I think, is somebody in the profession that I don't know if I would have a relationship with otherwise. And so if you're interested in participating in that program, it can be really impactful. And I do encourage you to do that. Again, both sides, being a mentor, serving as a mentor is so critical as we continue to, grow in our profession, but then also it can be fun to be a mentee. And then SACAC Leads, which I know used to be called something different, but I don't know if I saw Bartley. But SACAC Leads is a great opportunity as well for those of you who are looking to get a little bit more professional development experience, specifically offered through SACAC. And again, both of those we have the QR codes for those specific programs. And then we do have some virtual book clubs. So that is something, again, that will be blasted in the email. But we do have different book club offerings. And that's one just to keep on top of mind as we are, again, a different professional development experience that maybe doesn't cost as much as a program or attending a conference. So that's a great way to stay involved as well. And then tonight, there is actually a college admissions workshop specifically for focusing on the financial piece. A presenter from Sally Mae, Kelly will be there, as well as I will be there. So talking about just affording college and different opportunities, but that's open to all SACAC. That's not just for South Carolina, but it is tonight. But we do also offer lots of other workshops. This is also a great opportunity if you are interested in sharing something with SACAC as well. Wanting to share that out through a virtual workshop and virtual webinar might be a really great opportunity for you if you have specific information that you want to make sure to share out with everybody. And then from our PD committee, from professional development, we do have summer seminar this summer, and then also dry run. So I think we're familiar with those a little bit more. But if you're looking or you're going to potentially have new staff leading into the summer, these are really great opportunities for those newer staff to kind of get just drinking from the fire hose, so to speak. Really immersive experiences for them with those as well. And then we have some upcoming events. So as I mentioned, the Sweet Tea Tour, more information will be coming this spring, but please stay in touch with that. Again, we'll have lots of different institutions all throughout the state of South Carolina on this tour. And then, of course, our annual conference this year is in March. So I know historically it's been in April. So make sure you don't get those dates mixed up, but registration will open early and excited to see everybody in Raleigh. Okay, and then I don't have any state updates, so I'm going to pause and see if anybody, I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen for a second to see if anybody, I know, again, we have a couple of people from the board here. I don't know if there are other SACAC specific updates that you would like to share before we go into our breakout discussions. So if anybody's here.
I can just do a couple of quick things. Sorry, Katherine, I'll let you jump in just a minute. Just to kind of clarify a few things and answer, hopefully, maybe answer questions if anyone has any. So SACAC leads, just to make sure everybody's aware of the time frame, applications are due by the end of the month. So if you're at all interested in being part of that program, it's a really great program to kind of build your skills, get more involved in SACAC, understand really what we do and how you can kind of contribute to the organization. That we participant applications. So if you want to be in the LEAD program, right? You want to learn things from the LEAD program. That's also due. And also if you feel like you're ready to give back in that capacity and want to be a faculty member, that's also due by the end of the month. So November 30th, which is amazingly right upon us. I kind of can't believe it, but it is. And then a couple other things too. I think Katherine mentioned that SACAC, the annual conference, is a little earlier this year. And so usually registration opens in January. I don't want anyone to get caught off guard because it should open in December this year. So it should actually be a little bit before Christmas break. So just be on the lookout for that if you're interested in registration. And if you submitted a proposal to present, which hopefully will have some good South Carolina representation, those should be coming out soon as well. The decisions for proposals should be this week or next week is what I've been told. So it should be pretty soon. And then I think that's about it. I guess the question with SACAC leads, if you have any, one of our own Christchurch people from Greenville, Bartley Sides is one of our co-leads for that. So if you have questions, I'm sure he could answer them. And Sweet Tea Tour, we're really excited to be in South Carolina. And there is more information on the website, and usually registration opens for that in February. I think those are all the things. From my perspective on the board, I'm the advancement person. So that means I will take your money. So if you or anyone you know would like to be a sponsor for the annual conference, if you would like to be a sponsor for summer seminar, for dry run, for Sweet Tea Tour, we will take sponsors for everything. Exhibitor registration also will open in December for the conference. So if you work with a really great vendor or a really great organization, could be a CBO, anybody who's trying to get out there, I would love to chat with them. So feel free to send them my way. Looks like Lindsay put in information. Thank you, Lindsay, our CCES buddies. Yeah, I saw that the UT advisory board meeting was today. So yeah, figured we might have some conflicts. Glad to know he's still doing the good work. And I think Katherine, you're probably next, Katherine Daniels, and then I saw Darren, you popped on too, so good to see you. Hey.
And if I could add on to Julie really quickly. So I'm gonna just put another link in the chat, and that's for the Council Participation Fund. So I am one of the 3 co-chairs for state area initiatives. And one way that we love to get participation is through giving away money. So what that is the Council Participation Fund. If you work for a charter school, public school, or a nonprofit or CBO, and you may not have funding to attend the conference or Sweet Tea College Tour, this is a great way. The application takes about maybe 5 or 10 minutes to complete, but we will pay for most of the expenses associated with the Sweet Tea College Tour, summer seminar, or any other events. The deadline to receive funding for the annual conference is already passed, but for the Sweet Tea College Tour and everything else, that application is still valid. So please hop on and fill it out and get the funding to come and join us at our upcoming events. All right, thanks.
I just wanted to take a minute to plug the drive-in workshop. So my name is Katherine Daniels. I'm Associate Director of College Counseling at Hammond School, if I haven't met you before. I'm serving as one of the co-chairs of the drive-in workshop this year. My other co-chair is Taylor Hagler. I don't know if Taylor is here or not, but she works at Lander University. She's an admissions counselor. And we're really excited about drive-in workshop. If you haven't ever been to one before, it's an opportunity for professional development closer to home. So it's like a mini version of the annual conference for those who might not be able to make it, or, to supplement the annual conference. It's just one day of workshops and sessions, and we try to host them in person at different colleges around the state to make sure one is close to you every couple of years. So everything is still being finalized right now, but we're pretty sure it's going to happen on Friday, February 2nd, 2024. And we're fairly certain it'll be at Lander University in Greenwood this year. So we're excited to have that in person. We're excited to have some really good speakers already lined up. We're going to, just like as a teaser, we're going to have a financial aid presenter on the FAFSA changes, which is top of mind for all of us. We're going to have some admissions experts on a panel talking about lots of hot topics, probably some additional information about AI like we talked about today, but definitely Supreme Court decision and how that's impacting our work with students from marginalized backgrounds and all sorts of things. We're also going to have a behavioral health professional coming in to talk about counselor burnout and a couple other things, in addition to a chance to get to know Lander and take a tour of Lander. So we're very excited about it. It's for any high school counselor who works with high school students, even non-SACAC members, and we'd love to have non-SACAC members there. So please advertise it to your friends in the profession who may not be members as well. You'll get an email. Excuse me, you'll get an email from SACAC with registration information, and that will be $30 for most people, although you can have a grant to get it for free, just what Darren was saying, and he may have more information about that and how it applies to the drive-in workshops. I'm not totally positive, but you can get that free registration if you need it. So that will be coming out soon. The other thing to know is that if you're a counselor who needs the continuing education clock hours to get approved for that event, to get approved to come, we will have at least one, possibly two. We're in the process of getting that confirmed, but definitely at least one clock hour will be available, maybe two. So we hope to see you there. Thanks so much.
Hey, Katherine, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the drive-in, there used to be a committee for the drive-in. Is there still a committee? How is that working now?
Great question. So I used to be on the committee as well. And then last year, I guess there was a change in the way it was done. And I hadn't heard anything about the committee last year. And it, the drive-in went on and was successful, I think. And then I was just asked to step in this year, and with no committee talk, being involved. I did get information from the SAI team that the way it was done in South Carolina was kind of abnormal. Like, other states didn't have committees. So I think it maybe is now just supposed to be more in alignment with the way other states are done. So this year, Taylor and I are kind of tackling it, but I liked being on the committee and would definitely be open to bringing that back in future years, but I feel like that decision is probably above me. And maybe Darren and or Julia have more insight on that, but I think it was more just in alignment with the other states.
So how are schools selected to host the drive-in now?
So we selected Lander because Taylor works there, to be perfectly honest. And so it was easy for us to just do that because we kind of got plugged in a little bit later than we had hoped to get plugged in terms of getting things set up and approved. But I believe it's just under the discretion of the people who are doing the co-chair position to choose the college. Anything else on drive-in? Anybody? Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other updates from anyone on the call regarding state updates or regular updates? Okay, we will spend the next 10-ish minutes or so going into breakout rooms. I just labeled them randomly, so you can actually pick your own room once I open them. But we were going to talk specifically about successes in your role, what's going well for you this year, anything that you want to share with that, challenges, anything that's not going well, or what's been like a really big challenge for you this year, and then support, and mainly with support, like how can SACAC support you, or what are things that we can do in the profession to make sure that we're supporting one another, or if you have any like resources specifically that talk about, or things that you have that you do that really support you in your role, or that you know of. So I just labeled them successes, challenges, and support, but you really can pick any. And just we're gonna have hopefully 6 to 7 people in each room, just spending about 10 minutes just talking with each other. And then I'll do like a blast at the end to bring everybody back, and then we'll kind of close out. So again, even though your room might be labeled success, challenge, or support, you can talk about anything that you would like to talk about in your room. And then you can also self-select your room. So anybody that wants to go ahead is able to just click a room. You can see how many people are in it. And there are options, 1, 2, 3. So feel free to click room. Did it? Okay, they're going. I see people moving now. Thanks. I'll stop talking.
I'm just waiting a second. I'll jump into one in a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or you can stay here for questions for the good of the order.
Oh, I was muted.
I was gonna
might-
assign
yeah,
rooms, but I always feel bad doing that because I
I
don't
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I might jump into one of the support rooms just to see if like they have any SACAC questions.
Hmm.
All right. See you later.
A lot of people jumped into the challenges. Cool, cool. What is happening? Hi guys, welcome back. Did y'all get a chance to like chat? Okay.
We did. I kind of ramble a little bit, but
No, you're
maybe it's one
good.
of us.
Yeah, no. That's okay. Welcome back. Hopefully everybody had a couple minutes just to chat, check in, and meet someone new, hopefully. So just a few more quick things, wrapping us up here. So I did want to take a moment to talk about just if you are not a member, or if you've been thinking about becoming a member, or you know someone who should become a member, just talking about the SACAC memberships, and you can scan the QR code or go to the website for more information about SACAC memberships. And then also just to thank you for being here today. I know we had a couple people scoot out during the breakout rooms. That's totally fine. Just thankful to see so many of you jump in and engage for this area meeting today. And then also just reminding you that our theme this year is that it continues with us. So making sure that we are, really focused on that, and just hopefully feeling rejuvenated in the work that we all do, because it's so important. So I am going to stop sharing again and see if you'll have any questions, or if there's anything for the good of the order in our last couple minutes together before you head back to your day. And someone did ask if this recording would be shared, and Darren, I believe it will be shared with attendees or her registrants. Is that correct?
It is, and it's also going to be posted on SACAC's website too. All of the state meetings, so you can pull up any state meeting at any time.
Okay, great.
And while I have the floor, if no other questions, let me give a shout out to Katherine for planning a great meeting. This is a lot of work that has been months in the making. So thank you for hopping in. And Adrian was an amazing speaker. I think he hopped off already. But the info on AI and the changes to the field that it's going to cause was definitely a good and unique feature to add to the meeting. So thank you all for being here. I love seeing this much just the activity on this call from all of the members and how active you all are. So thank you guys from South Carolina for hopping on and taking time out of your day for being here.
Yes, thanks everybody, and thanks Darren for all your support. Thanks everybody. I'll send Adrian all of your love and well wishes. I really appreciate you guys taking that on, so thank you. All right, we'll see you.
It was so good to see all my friends in South Carolina. So hi across the state. Good to see you all.
We'll see you all in March. If you need anything, let us know. Thanks. Just gonna wave on camera. All right, bye everybody.